Welcome back to Because I Feel Like It. My name is Nelson Drew. Make sure you follow us, like and subscribe, and also you can follow me at Nail2524. Of course, we're talking about NBA All-Star rules today, and if you just viewed it, uh, this past weekend, February, we have great aspect and a great outlook, and the NBA is trying to expand and trying to elevate NBA All-Star Weekend. They're trying to do something different. They're trying to appease to the audience. Is trying to attract those who are just tired and bored of the NBA All Star Game. And of course, when I was growing up, I used to like watching Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Vince Carter, uh, and just to name a few. I remember in 2000, the best All Star game I seen was with Vince Carter, AI, Stephon Marbury, and just the competition was fierce. You can tell those guys were out there playing to win the game. Now, with that being said, the late great Kobe Bryant said this. Just want to set the tone for what we're going to talk about. Kobe Bryant said this about the All Star game. All Star game needs a little revamping. It used to be competitive. People want to see the best players in the world actually go up against each other, not running up and down, dunking without defense. Now, to his credit, yes, we want to see more defense. We want to see more competitiveness. And the NBA had that in mind. So the NBA also rules has changed. If you didn't read up on it, if you just view the games, that's awesome. But there was three teams, and technically it's four teams, and eight players each. One knockout game, and then the teams advance to the championship. There is no game clock, but there's a 24-second shot clock, and 40 points win game. So that's like playing on the playground, like playing 21. When you out there and you got your five, and then you want to win the game and get all the bragging rights, why not? So you got the best players in the world playing on a stage where there's celebrities, there's UGC contact creators. Excuse me. You got those who were entrepreneurs. You got all these YouTubers just in one place at one time enjoying the show, and comedians as well. And so I'm going to go down the list of players that were selected for the All Star, and they were selected by uh, TNT Draft. As you know, on TNT they have Charles Barkley, aka Chuck. You got Shaquille O'Neal, aka Shaq. You got Kenny the Jet Smith and Candace Parker, and it was a draft with all four, and it was amazing to see why they picked the players. So Chuck, he wanted to pick all the international players. Shaq wanted to pick the legends and the OGs. Kenny, the Jet Smith, he wanted to pick the young guys. And of course, Candace Parker automatically got the rising stars. So I'm just going to go through this list here. So Chuck picked Nikola Jokic, uh, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shea Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, Pascal Siakam, Alperen Sengun, Carl Anthony Towns, and Donovan Mitchell. Shaq picked the OGs, the legends. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, James Harden, and Jalen Brown. Kenny the Jet Smith got the young guys, the Gen Z, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jared Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, even young guys like Evan Mobley, Caden Cunningham, and Tyler Hero. So that's a good group of guys, man. You got the OGs, you got the international players from Canada, um, Serbia, and just all across the globe. And then you got the Gen C guys, the young guys, up and coming guys, Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson. And Candace Parker, she automatically got the Rising Stars. And some of these guys are from the G League. So you got Steven Castle, he was G League MVP, Dalton Nett, Jalen Williams, Keontae George, Zach Eddy, Tracy Jackson Davis, and Ryan Dunn. Wow. Just to be amongst and mention um, rising stars, it's a tap and a feather to their hat. So I was thinking, I said, man, all these guys coming together and it's going to be a competition, or are they going to go and throw it off the backboard, alley oops, and play no defense? But I think they played. If you watched it, they played a smidgen of defense, and so the first game between Kenny's team and Chuck's team, it was 32-41. And it was a good close game, good competition. But we all know Chuck's team pretty much was going to win that game. The second game, it was Candace Parker and Shaq. Now, Candace Parker had the rising stars, and then Shaq had the OGs. I'm gonna be honest with you. This was the best game because it was competition, and you could tell that in the beginning, in the first 2 or 3 minutes, they was trying to fill each other out. The old heads was running their sets, and the young guys were flying up and down, getting good buckets. And then it got close as the time went on. So remember, there is no game clock. So whoever gets to 40 first wins. So it got down to 33-37, and you could tell things started to heat up. You could tell there was defense. You could tell there was traps. You could tell there was guys playing one-on-one, keeping their body in front of each other. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And so I said, this is going to be a competition. It might be an upset because the Rising Stars are here to play. But the OG settled in. They start hitting their shots, start blocking, stealing, and making goals. And that's what happened. So Candace team 35, Shaq team 42. Now, we all know if you watch TNT, and this is because I feel like it, trust me, like and subscribe to us. But it was amazing to see Shaq and Chuck. Now, before we get into Shaq and Chuck and the score, and before we get into how that game was played, I noticed that the losing team and GM, which was the GMs were Kenny, Shaq, Candace. What they did was is that if the team lost, they had to announce the game. So naturally, Shaq did not announce, and naturally Chuck did not announce. But Kenny, who has experience in announcing games, he announced. And Candace, who has experience calling games, she announced. She was the color commentator. And I thought that was awesome that they can get behind the mic and they can talk about the game. Now, Kenny was on there saying, man, I don't want to announce a game. I'm a sore loser. But hey, he called it and it was awesome. TNT was a genius for that little spin. Okay, just a little something to think about. All right. So now Shaq's team is versus Chuck's team. Now, Shaq and Chuck, if you look at their relationship, they're always bickering and fighting. They're actually Shaq's mother knows Chuck's mother, Charles Barkley's mother. And so they got that connection. And then they're just like brothers, one big brother to another little brother. They're always fighting, bickering, teasing each other, going back and forth. It's great for the ratings, right? But then off the screen, them guys love each other, man. Them guys are like brothers. So I said, this is interesting how now you got Shaq's legends versus Chuck's international players. Okay, perfect matchup, perfect setup, and you got these guys that are on both teams who have experience. Some have championships, right? Some been to the playoffs, some been to the finals, right? And definitely some of the biggest stars in Luka and LeBron and Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, and the list goes on. All right. So as the game goes on, I noticed that, hey, we're here to win. And I noticed at one point of the game where there was what we've been used to seeing: alley oops, dunks, lack of defense, Olay, and just having all of them go down the court, dunk the ball, and just kind of watching. And then it got a little tight, but overall, Shaq team won. Shaq's team, the OGs, 41 and Chuck 25. Awesome All-Star Saturday on Sunday. Awesome to see everybody lock in at one point in time and watch the best players in the world play competitively. It was better than most years because many years it's been just a free for all, and it's been, hey, let's go make a show. But it wasn't this time, and the format was great. You got 8 players on 8 teams, and you had the GMs. You had Candace Parker, you had Kennedy J. Smith, and you had Shaquille O'Neal. What a setup! And these three, and then three guys, and the legendary Candace Parker knew basketball, and they knew who to pick, and they had a category to pick them in. All right. So tournament winner Shaquille OGs, and I'm sure he's gonna get all the accolades, and he's gonna make sure that he gets all the bragging rights when they get back and broadcast the next show. But we got teams on the squad who has star players. Now, we all know the stories behind what's going on with their regular teams because um, after they go home, they have a couple days to get back to the NBA regular season games. And we all know there were some big trades between Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, Luka, and so on. So, what is coming up, which is very interesting, and we all know when you go back to a team that just traded you and you're like, oh man, I got a little incentive, right? I want to make sure they miss what they should have would have. Well, let me see. How's the phrase go? You don't know what you got until it's gone. So I'm sure Anthony Davis is going on there and say, hey man, I can't, I'm gonna show them, they missing 40, 10, and 15. And Luca might be saying, you know what? You traded me out of the blue. I'm supposed to be the franchise, the face of the franchise. I'm about to show you why you need me. So coming up, you got the Lakers hosting the Dallas Mavericks at 10 p.m. Wow. And I think is that today? But think about it. You got LeBron James, you got Kyrie Irving. Those two have massive history. Okay. Now we know the big headlines is going to be AD and Luka, but just think about it. I'm sure them two talk, and I'm sure it might be just a little bit of we're gonna make sure that our five is better than your five. We're gonna make sure we're gonna have a certain wrinkle in our offensive scheme. We're gonna make sure we can have a certain uh, wrinkle in our defensive scheme just to stop one of your best players. And hopefully AD stays healthy, and hopefully they're at the full roster. And don't forget about Klay Thompson for the Dallas Mavericks. Man, he's a three-point shooter. And then other intricate parts of the Lakers that you got to look for in the different players. Austin Reeves, the man wears a headband, the man scores 25 automatically. Okay. So it's going to be awesome to see how the rest of this NBA schedule pans out. That we're in the second half of the season, and it's going to be playoff time before you know it. Right now, the teams are winning as much games as possible to seed between 1 and 8. And remember, then you got the play-in tournament too, right? So you got the guys who are going to play between 7 and 10, right? Just to make the playoffs. That's going to be interesting within itself. So I can't wait to see what the NBA brings when it comes to the next NBA All-Star. Maybe they change the rules a little bit as well. Maybe they have a little incentive as far as cash, but the rest of the season is going to be awesome. The NBA season and the next All-Star game is going to be awesome. And we all know that the players, the top tier, we're talking about the LeBron James, we're talking about the Jason Tatums, we're talking about, and wait a minute, hold up, think about Cleveland. Cleveland on the East, who's going to stop them, right? Boston maybe, but it looks like it's going to be their year, man. They came out of nowhere, and then Houston in the West. Well, where did they come from, right? Young squad there. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen for the rest of this NBA season. All right, my name is Nelson Drew, man. Make sure you guys follow us, like and subscribe. Next time we'll be out, we're going to be talking about other topics in the sports world. And maybe we can talk about some culture stuff too, man. But yeah, that's it. Let's get back into it. You have a great day because I feel like it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.